you asked about immigration. I think it's an important issue to the future of the country. I think it starts with rebuilding trust. And I don't think that we've yet achieved that with respect to immigration policy. The first way to rebuild trust is to end all forms of illegal immigration into the United States. I am proud to say a hardliner on that question. I think we need a sealed border. We need to use every resource. I think it's an appropriate use of the U.S. military. I don't think that's histrionic. I think the U.S. military can protect the U.S. borders. That's part of what being part of the Defense Department is all about. And the incentives to be here illegally. Defund sanctuary cities. Think about that, Jillian. What does that mean? You got local governments that are subsidizing the violation of a federal law. That doesn't make any sense.
Gavin Newsom just did it here. In California, he's got some where he's funding healthcare for illegals. But I know at least 10, 30-year-old kids that can't afford healthcare that are American citizens and pay taxes.
Absolutely. And so the overarching principle when it comes to immigration policy, I think ought to be a simple one that I believe every American should agree on, which is the purpose of any policy, including immigration policy, is to improve the plight of the citizens of our nation. It's that simple. What improves the plights of the citizens of our nation? We're a nation founded on the rule of law. So subsidizing or encouraging or even tolerating the violation of the rule of law doesn't advance the interests of our nation. We're a nation founded on the rule of law. So I could go on about the illegal immigration issue and how we should end foreign aid to countries in Central America where, frankly, the Darien Pass, a region that used to be shut down for people, that northward flow of migrants from Venezuela to the southern border of Texas, all the way to sealing the physical border itself, all the way to ending the incentives to be here illegally, ending every form of aid, and ending every form of funding of sanctuary cities, all of that. That's in the stopping illegal immigration category. If it's in favor of stopping illegal immigration, it's done in a legal way, I'm in favor of it. Okay.
Agreed.
That's where I'm at. Now, there's a separate question. And I think after we've rebuilt that trust, the question is, what should the legal immigration policies of this country look like? And there, too, I apply the same principle. What are the immigration policies that would best lift up the quality of life for the citizens who are already here? That should be the sole question that we seek to answer. And is our current regime in so many different areas badly bureaucratized, broken, inefficient, and ineffective at achieving its result? Yes, it is.
Right.
But that means we need to roll up our sleeves and address those failures rather than just cursing the darkness. And I'm happy to, it's some other forum, and that's probably a long discussion, a day-long discussion unto itself. But I think we need to do that hard work. I don't think it's enough to just curse the darkness, to use my phrase of the day, I guess. I think that's a trap we risk falling into. Is it's a lot easier to spot a problem and to complain about it than it is to actually solve it. In the stage I am, certainly in my career and what I'm looking to do, I'm not going to be able to fix that one. That's for the federal government. But when I look at education policy or the other policies that a governor can actually drive in improving and the revival of the American dream, economic growth, energy production, I want to turn to the solution and do it in a way that unites people. Because I think what you're putting your finger on, if I may, you tell me if I'm totally off here, but hearing your comments, Jillian, is I think there's a risk here where the risk is as follows, right? On our side, I'm a conservative, I'm a Republican politician running for office. Okay, one of the risks is that there's a pattern recognition for our side where for the last 8 years, if we did something and the left was incensed about it, there was a very high probability that we were actually doing the right thing. Okay? So it's just a correlation. It's just a correlation. Like whatever we take the border issue, sealing the border, whatever it is, right? And some people might contest this, but just roll with me for a second.
I'm with you.
In general, okay, if you're doing a thing that made at least the woke left, right? The neo-woke left really upset at you, chances are, whatever that was, that you were doing the right thing. Great. I think we got habituated into that. And I think the trap I want to make sure we don't fall into is a trap of just doing things because it makes that wing of the left really upset, as opposed to doing things because we think it's actually going to solve a problem that's a pressing problem for all Americans. And I think at our core, at our best, and that's where most public officials, I think, are in this, I think with good motivations, we got to remember that what we're actually trying to do is to solve problems for the American citizens who are already here, to make their lives better, to revive a country where if you work hard and play by the rules, you get to have a good life, that you get to live your version of the American dream with dignity, whether you're a businessman or a CEO or a teacher or a nurse, that your kids get a world-class education in the first world leader known as the United States of America. And if you're going to stand in our way, we're going to run through you. Okay, but our goal isn't to elicit a reaction from the other side. Our goal is to actually do the thing.
Yes.
And so that's what I think success looks like, is do the thing. And then I see an opportunity there. Because if you're actually focused on doing the thing, I think there's all kinds of interesting shifts going on in America. There's the best case scenario. And so the middle case, you do the thing and you run through the other side, who's an obstacle, but you're running through that obstacle because you want to do the thing. Then there's an even better version of this, which is where I'd like to see us go in our most aspirational version of ourselves. Is not only are we doing the thing, we're not compromising on our principles, we're not compromising on our values, we're going to stand true to our values, true to our goals, but use the power of persuasion to even bring along the people who might have thought they disagreed with you, to bring them along. That's the best case scenario. And if that's the best case scenario, I'll also paint the worst case scenario, which is that we just do things because they make the other side angry without actually even doing the thing, which is in some cases the worst of all worlds. Is we didn't even do the thing that we actually set out to do, but we managed to make the other side mad, because pattern recognition over the last 10 years taught us, at least in the last 10 years, that's what allowed us to do a good thing. When in fact, the next 10 years I hope aren't going to be the same as the last 10 when it comes to polarization in our country. And so I don't know if that got too, wonky or philosophical or whatever, but that's where I see an opportunity, and that's where I see a risk, fork in the road ahead for where we head from here. And for my part, I'm hoping to lead Ohio as a governor that has certain goals that I'm in this to achieve. Take the educational achievement discussion. If you're a teachers union, if you're a political opponent, if you're standing in the way of us standing for the achievement of our students, we're not going to go lightly. We're going to run right through you. But at our best, I'm not picking a fight for the sake of picking one. To the contrary, I'd prefer if actually we were just able to do it together and all celebrate that outcome. And that might mean that nobody was incensed about it. That's not a bad thing. It's actually a good thing, even though it might make less national news or social media virality in the process. And I do think that that's a slightly different frame shift of what the politics of the next 10 years could look like.
Oh, I hope so.
Versus the politics of the last 10 years, if you ask me.
Gosh, I hope so.
Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the podcast, please like, comment, subscribe, and share. And make sure to let me know what guests you want to see on in the future.